We need to address something right away with the listeners.
I know. I can't wait to tell them. Wait, can I tell them? No, 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 you tell them.
How about we both tell them, you guys officially have a name now?
If you're listening to this, you are now a certified troublemaker.
I love it.
This, that, and the trouble, all the parts we tried to hide. Every wrong turn, every wrong move, put a little truth in our stride. No perfect script, just crooked light, shining on the darkest nights. 'Cause there's always more to the story, and we're setting the record right. Just honest.
Okay, before we get into today's wild stories, we need to talk about what just happened with episode 1 because I was not expecting that at all.
Not even a little girl. Like, I thought we would do well, but the way that people have showed up,
Right? Like, people didn't just listen, they stayed, which is honestly a little concerning.
girl, I mean, are you surprised though?
No.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
So, what's been going on in your world? Any updates? Any drama we need to know about?
You know, everything and all the things. It's just been so busy. I mean, I am not a Caribbean person, but I work like I have 15 jobs like a Caribbean person. So I have just been firing on all cylinders and
Yeah.
my baby's back working. My daughter is a professional actor and she booked a really good gig, so she's been working, making her money, and
Wow.
I mean, we're ready for summer. We're ready for a hot girl summer yet again. We're
Right?
back. We're back
That's
terrorizing men.
awesome.
So, well, she's not terrorizing men, but she is a young soldier. But I'm back. I'm back at
I
it.
love it. That's awesome, though. Congrats to her.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'll pass that along, JoJo, Auntie JoJo. Now, what about you? What are some things? What are some things going on with you? How have things been going for you out in the middle of nowhere in Hollertown?
I know, right? Like, it is very, the hills have eyes around where I live. Um, things are good. I know, I kinda updated on social media, but my little chihuahua, she's a 5-pound chihuahua. She's 10 years old, and she had a medical scare last week where she
Yeah.
had 8 seizures.
Mm,
I know,
yeah.
but luckily, she pulled through, and she's
Yes.
doing great.
Thank God. Thank
Yes.
God. Little
Right.
mama's still going.
Exactly, exactly. So, really quick, before we get into it, if you're new here or you've been listening for a minute and want to support the show, you've heard us talk about Valiza. They make these dopamine patches that help with mood, focus, all the things.
And hey, anything that helps regulate my mood and my focus, girl, I am totally open to it.
Right? And also, this is new. I just released my no hard feelings kinda journals.
Okay, girl, wait. I actually love these because they're not like your typical journal. It's not you're just like write your thoughts and good luck, sweetie kind of thing.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's more like having a best friend in journal form, like something that's actually going to help you realize that you're amazing and what you need to do to feel that way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted it to be. So they're only $10, they're available now, and honestly, it's the kind of thing I wish I had years ago because sometimes you don't need or want to hear cliche advice. You just need somewhere to like get it out and someone who cares telling you to stop beating yourself up.
Yes, that in a roundabout way, for sure. So sweet.
All right, let's get into today's topic because I feel like this one is about to hit a nerve.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We're talking workplace horror stories and not the my boss was annoying kind.
No, the kind like, "How was this even allowed?" kinda stories.
Right? Let me ask you this first, though. What's the worst job you've ever had? Like, not a workplace horror story necessarily, but just like the job itself was 0 out of 5 stars. Never again.
Oh, girl. Well, I haven't worked too many places, because I was just raised by baby boomers where it's like, you get your one job and you work there 45 years and you get your paperweight and you're done. But
Right.
my first job was actually my worst job, which it really, anybody that grows up in the Atlanta area as a teenager, you're either working at 2 different theme parks. You're either working at Six Flags or you're working at Stone Mountain, and it just depends on which side of I-20 you grew up on. So, I worked at
Mm.
Six Flags just like every other teenager in the area, and, I fucking hated it. I hate it, and the thing is, like, I was never a roller coaster girly anyway, so it's just like a rite of passage. You always had to get a season pass, as a kid. And
Uh-huh.
so my mom always taught me, like, don't ever let anybody peer pressure you into getting on roller coasters if you don't like them. And I was like, okay, bet, cool, say less, sis.
Yeah.
So I would be having like, a season pass and just sitting on the little bricks or whatever, waiting for my friends to get off the roller coaster. So I already hated Six Flags to begin with. So then to get a job there, and then it's not even like I was sitting outside, like in a theme park. I literally worked in admissions, which was like one of the most coveted like positions because it was indoors, it was higher pay,
Yeah.
and I still hated the job. I hated everything about Six Flags. I hated the uniform. I hated the people there. And the people weren't even awful. It was just like, I cannot believe this is what I'm doing to put $20 worth of gas in my Honda Civic at age 16. I was just like, this place is beneath me. I don't ever want to do it again. But I think I did like 3 summers there. And then I was like, I got to go. I hated it.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can kinda relate 'cause the worst job I think I've ever had was at Best Buy,
Mm.
and no shade to the company at all 'cause that there's nothing wrong with them. It was just the job itself that I really hated, which I was just a cashier, but, um and I had worked, many, like, retail, customer service kinda jobs,
Mhm.
but, what I really hated about working there was that because of, obviously the majority of things there are electronics, that a lot of almost everything comes with, like, a product replacement
Oh,
plan or
yeah.
an extended warranty. Yeah, and you have to try to upsell every customer on, all these different things. And their rule, especially, I don't know if it's still this way, but at the time, was that the customer has to say no 3 times
What?
before you can. Yes. Isn't that
That's
ridiculous?
crazy.
And yeah, and then they had, where, like, for every customer, you would have to ask them if they wanted to sign up for, like, 3 months of Sports Illustrated, and basically, it was like, it was like
What?
kinda tricking them into it, but, of course, after the 3 months, if you don't cancel,
Right.
they're gonna start charging you for it, and that, again, was something they had to say no 3 times, and, I just refused to do that to people, so I was basically looking for another job the entire time I worked there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
that reminds me that, It sounds like one of my other jobs I had as like a teenager where I was a telemarketer and like literally cold calling people to like, hey, do you want to get this credit card? And their silly selves would be like, yes. So I guess we both have, experience in sales and closing or not closing people and on things.
Right, right. But yeah, but so today, these stories that we're gonna talk about though, this is not that kind of, little things that we just didn't like. This was like, much bigger than that. So, I don't know about you, but I already feel like this is gonna be bad.
It is.
All right, tell me everything. Start from the beginning.
Oh, I'll start at the beginning, then we'll get to the end in the middle, and then we'll dance around a little bit because that's just the Shiri way. All
Right?
right, so let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever worked with a crackhead?
Oh, did not see that coming.
I did not.
Yeah,
I
I'm
did not
sure I
either.
have.
Yeah. Well, let's begin this story. So, this story involves a man, and just going back to our first time when we chatted, on these radio waves or internet waves, and I'm starting to think maybe I am damn Blanche Devereaux because all my stories are like based around men. But I think the reason that they're based around men is because they just don't have a mind, and sometimes they lack boundaries, so they make for the best stories of like why the hell
Right.
are you living your life like this? So
Yeah.
here we are. Anyway, the story of the crackhead. This is a story in my early 20s. I'm going to try to keep the names different. I don't even know if we named the person in the last episode, but it's so funny because this individual actually has the same like legal name as the other person. So it must be something about that name. We worked together at some point and they were in a supervisory position and I was just a humble, employee. And
Mhm.
they were just always very friendly, very helpful to me when I needed assistance with things. And I remember one day, doing what any girl does on a payday Friday. It's like, well, I'm going to go on a website and look for shoes to buy. And they were like, oh, cool.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah. And they were like, oh, cool. If you want some shoes, like, I'll buy you a pair of shoes. And I was like, okay, I don't think I want to get into that with you. No,
Mhm.
there's other ways that I can get shoes, like my paycheck or,
Right.
anybody else. So that was already weird. Now they weren't my direct supervisor, but they were in a, supervisory position. So
Right.
anyway, I move on to work in a different component in the company. So I have to move away to a different side of town. And so anyway, they continue to like just send me messages here and there. I just thought that they were like a cool person, whatever. I was kind of always like a guy's girl. So I always had a lot of guy friends, sometimes more than
Mhm.
girlfriends. So it was nothing to me. I didn't think anything of it. So
Yeah.
somehow we end up starting to like hang out. I think we met up for like happy hour or something like that because that's what you did in your 20s without any type of like responsibilities, whatever. And so
Right.
we hang out and then I guess he calls himself like liking me and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. There's nothing else to do in your 20s. You just kind of kick it with whoever.
Mhm.
So here's where it got weird because this was like a desk job, right? So he's having to wear like a collared shirt every day, like a long sleeve collared shirt. So it's not like, like Burger King where you're wearing a short sleeve collar shirt and you're the manager,
Mm.
like you mean business, right? Anywho, he's like daytime, like office job man. Nighttime, he discloses to me that he has a rap name and he's also a rapper. And I was like,
Oh,
this is
Jesus.
really weird. But I'm just like, all right, like he believes in himself. And I think he has to be like maybe 7 or 8 years older than me. So he's already in like the dream deferred stages of his life. Like, why are you doing this?
Mhm.
What type of like street credit do you have? Because like you're pushing paper. You're not pushing powder. You're pushing paper all day. So anyway, we hang out, we do what you do in Atlanta. We want chicken wings, so you go to a strip club, whatever. You go for the wings and the music. That's Atlanta's just
Yeah.
one of those places. You don't really
Right.
get it until you're here. And one time, like in the evening, we're just kind of like hanging out at his house, like watching TV, and he keeps getting up to leave, and then like come back, like go in the back of his apartment and come back. I had never been exposed to people snorting powder, but there was nothing that was that invigorating about watching whatever we were watching on television for him to keep going back and forth snorting coke.
Yeah.
I never took myself to be a crackhead hanger outer. It was very
Right.
strange. After that, I never spoke to him again, which made it very strange to be, in office settings where you kind of have to meet up, where there's like, office wide meetups, and trying not to really look them in the
Yeah.
eye because, I'm notorious for ghosting people, especially in my 20s. I didn't give a damn about no one or no thing. But that's kind of my office horror story because I wasn't used to somebody, and the way he came back, his behavior was very strange. I didn't know how to deal
Yeah.
with it. That's kind of as weird as it's ever gotten for me. It's kind of in the workplace, but kind of not.
Yeah.
This was just,
Yeah. No, I get it.
I didn't know that I would one day work with a crackhead. It was weird. It was very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when that's not something you have ever really been subjected to. Um, yeah, I completely understand the, you know, really just being caught off guard and the uncomfortableness of that. Um, what's kind of strange to me though, well, one, did he just come right out and tell you? Like, how did you know that that is what he was doing, or was it just
He
obvious?
came back acting very weird, almost wanted to do freaking cartwheels, JoJo. Walking back, and I was like, then then he tries to play some of his music for me, and it was real
Mm.
bad. And then, he's calling all these names that, people like to name drop when they don't really know the
Oh,
people. And,
yeah.
he's acting like he's signed to like No Limit Records. It was very strange. And I was like, there is a limit to your talent. So, this is not good. But what you can't say something is not good when you're in someone's house and then they're coked up because you don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Yeah,
So I was like, oh,
that's
okay,
true.
like cool story, bro. Like, yeah, you got it. You're the
Right.
next one up. It was very weird. It was very weird, very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it
good
was
one.
bad. So there's mine, but I know yours has to be just as bad because it has to be based on your track record. I know you about to hit us with something crazy.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Excellent.
Alright. So, let's see here. Now, first, I know everybody says like, "Oh, their workplace was toxic," but mine legitimately turned into like a Lifetime movie, you know what I mean? Like, it was so ridiculous. Um, so this is when I lived in Florida.
Enough said.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm from Pennsylvania, and I live here now,
Mhm.
and basically I just lived in Florida for about 8 years in my
Mhm.
20s. And so, like I said earlier, I had always just really kind of worked like retail, customer service type jobs, restaurants,
Yeah.
things like that. Um, and so when I moved to Florida, I got my first real like grown up office job.
Mhm.
And I was so excited, because
Yes.
like I didn't go to college. So, I was just excited somebody trusted me with near a fax machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually got even though it was an office, I got hired just as a part-time, like in the mail room,
Mhm.
which, they call their distribution center.
Mhm.
My supervisor, she was great. She was awesome, really had a great relationship with her. Everybody that I worked with was awesome. but in the office, the receptionist, she was kind of like, I think every office has that one person
Mhm.
that like the entire building just collectively like rolls their eyes
Oh,
at,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was her. And she would, like once a year do this little seasonal tradition where she would go out on FMLA for like months at a time.
Sounds like my kinda
And
girl. I'm like, "Ooh, I envy her."
yeah, she had it like down to a system. And she'd been doing this for years, apparently.
Wow.
And but this particular year, she kind of messed up where she didn't like get a note in or something from a doctor like on the right day, and so they were able to let her go. Um,
Mm.
so but even before they let her go, like while she was out, nobody knew how to run the phones except for these two other women they were already overworked. Like they had their
Mhm.
own jobs. And so I'm part-time, in the mailroom. So I offered to learn the phone system and then just come in early and help out.
Mhm.
So, which looking back might have been my first mistake, like never let management know that you're capable.
Right. Right. My god, no.
Right. Yeah. Like they'll work you,
Oh,
like a
yes.
rented mule,
Mhm.
So but, I was eager and I wanted to learn everything. And eventually, when they were able to let that woman go, I was offered the full-time receptionist position. So I was just like thrilled because now I'm working, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. This was just really, really, to me, felt even more grown up.
Oh, yes, you finally got your piece of
So,
the pie. Like, really. You moved on
right,
up, girl.
right. So I learned the phone system and all that good stuff. And really, after I kind of got all that down, I realized like there wasn't a whole lot to it. So I just started, I would ask, like, hey, is there anything else I can do? And the woman who was the admin assistant, so she was like the direct assistant to the branch manager.
Mhm.
And she was always like running around stressed out of her mind. And so I offered to like, hey, is there anything you can just like teach me how to do and I'll take care of it. So I had never even touched Microsoft Excel before in my
Oh.
life.
Oh, girl.
Um
Yeah.
like I think the first time I opened it, I was like, okay, am I like looking at launch codes for a nuclear
Right.
submarine?
Right. Oh, MG, yeah.
But I taught myself how to use it, and eventually, over time, the admin assistant, who was wonderful, her and I became very close, but she moved away. So, I got promoted to her position.
Nice.
So, now I'm the admin assistant to the for the branch manager, and we're gonna call her Suzanne.
Okay.
So, at this point, I'm thriving, right? I'm learning payroll and human resources stuff, all these other reports and maintaining employee files, new hire orientation, onboarding, all of that good stuff. So, normally, I would never, like, say anything about anyone else's pay because, part of my job involved confidential employee information, and I took that
Right.
seriously. Like, I knew, that, there's a level of trust that needs to be there. Um, but eventually I did bring something up to Suzanne because again, her and I had a very great relationship. Even though I had received
Mhm.
a couple of raises by this point, I couldn't help but notice that the new receptionist who they hired to replace me was making more than I was. And I
Oh.
just found that, yeah, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. So eventually I had to sit down and talk to her about it. And Suzanne looks me dead in my face and says, well, the receptionist is a single mother and you're not.
What?
Uh, ex- excuse me?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right. Apparently experience and performance aren't the deciding factors here. I didn't realize pay rates were based on who had the saddest backstory.
Right.
Um, but, again, I'm really just still kind of grateful for even working there. So, like, I let it go. Now,
Yeah.
at this time, yeah, I know, right? So at this time, I'm married and my husband is deployed. He was
Mhm.
in the Navy. So, and he was pretty much gone almost the entire first year of our marriage.
Mhm.
Um, and Navy wives, I don't know if it's just in Jacksonville, Florida, or if this is everywhere, but they had a reputation for being community oriented.
Oh, getting their
If you
blanch
catch
on.
my drift.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so I just never yeah, I just never wanted to be a part of that or be associated with it.
Right.
So I
For
didn't
sure.
like hang out with other Navy wives and stuff like that. So one day, this sales guy, some guy works in the sales department, he happens to be behind me in the stairwell, and he says to me, "Hey, we've never even spoken before this day." And he says, "Hey, your husband's deployed, right? Well, if you ever get an itch that needs scratched, I, I know how you Navy wives are." And I'm like,
What? Where is the Me Too movement right now?
right,
Ew. Yuck.
right, right.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, "Sir," like, I'm standing there thinking, this man is also married. So, by his own theory, doesn't that make him just as bad as Navy wives?
Right. And sometimes married men be the worst because it's just like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I need to do it. I'm just impulsive and dumb. I need to do it. I need to just see if I still got it. No, you don't have it. No, no, there's nothing that you have. Nobody wants you. Okay? Nobody.
Right. Right. Go bother your wife. Yeah.
Right. And she don't want your ass either.
Right. Oh, yeah. So, now he wasn't even the biggest problem in this story.
No?
He just was
Oh gosh. I told you, girl, your
you know,
stories.
I know. You know how my stories are. So, because Suzanne and I were still super close at this point, and everybody was like very complimentary of me. So, not just Suzanne, but the other like supervisors and even her boss, Suzanne's boss, the regional manager,
Mhm.
she now was like also very complimentary of me. And I was starting to do reports for her. So now I'm like doing things for multiple branches.
Yeah.
And honestly, recognition means more to me than money. I mean, money still means a lot to me, but
Mhm.
especially back then, my husband's gone. I had no family
Yeah.
nearby. So work was, everything to me
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point.
Mhm.
So one day, Suzanne calls me into her office, just, like normal. But as soon as I came in, it was like I just could feel a shift. Um, and so she says, "Close the door." Again, that's nothing out of the ordinary.
Mhm.
But I just kind of felt like my soul was leaving my body. Like, I don't know, I just could feel the tension in
Oof.
this room for some reason. So I'm sitting there and she goes, "I just want you to know that I know."
What?
Yeah. And I'm
What?
like, okay, well, one of us doesn't know. You know? I have no idea what she's talking about. And so I start to say, something to that effect of like, "I don't know what you're referring to." And she goes, "I can't believe that you would do this while your husband is away fighting for this country."
Uh-oh.
Uh, what? And I mean, I am completely blindsided. And I just, like, I don't even know what she is talking, like, what she's referring to. And I start to, like, ask her to explain, and she just refuses. She says, "We're not gonna discuss this any further. I just wanted you to know that I know." And she basically sends me back to my desk. For months, I obsessed over this. Like, I'm replaying every interaction I've ever had. Like, do I have
Yeah.
a secret second family that I
Right,
forgot about?
right.
You know? And from that point on, everything changed. Like, we had this really great relationship, and now she is cold and nasty, very, like, hypocritical, giving
Uh,
me unrealistic
oh,
deadlines.
no.
Just, yeah, very, very different, from what we had always been. So eventually, I ended up actually speaking to the woman who was the previous admin assistant, because her and I were still friends. We hadn't talked in a while, so I happened to be on the phone with her one day, and I tell her, what's been going on, like,
Mhm.
what happened. So when she worked there and she was the admin assistant, she was also very close with Suzanne. So she says that she'll call Suzanne just to kind of, like, pretend to check in and see how I'm doing in the
Yeah.
role, to see if, she would tell her anything. Well, Suzanne had a lot to say.
What?
Yeah. So apparently Suzanne was monitoring calls, which was part of something that they did there. But it never applied to me because my job, I never talked to clients.
Mhm.
So there really was no need to phone monitor me. I didn't care if she
Yeah.
did, but there wasn't really no point to it. But anyway, she apparently was monitoring a call that I was on, and overheard me talking to a man that I was cheating on my husband with. This is what she tells the previous admin
Oh
assistant.
gosh. Give me
Yeah.
a
And
break.
I'm like, right. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? And it took me like a couple of days, but finally it clicked and I figured it out. Here's what I think happened. Well, it has to be. This has to be what happened. So, like I said, this was in Florida, right?
Mhm.
The IT department in the corporate office was in New
Mhm.
York. And part of my job was to call IT anytime we had, like, phone issues, computer issues, that kind of thing. And it was a very small IT department. And so there was only a couple of people that worked in there. And after you called a few times, you would get, the same people over and over
Yeah.
again. And there was this one guy who worked there, and he was just kind of funny. And we would casually chat while he was working on stuff because, awkward silence just makes me want to launch myself into traffic. So, so at the time, American Idol was all the rage.
Mhm. Mhm. What a time to be
And
alive.
that's right. I miss those
Yes.
days. But we would talk about that.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's the scandal.
Oh my gosh.
Not an affair, not some torrid romance, just two bored office employees discussing Ruben Studdard.
Oh gosh.
So this woman fully constructed an entire cheating narrative in her head because I was discussing reality TV with a man on the phone. I'm assuming she didn't realize this was corporate. Like, she just thought I was talking to some man, like a personal phone call, and that we had watched TV together the night before or something. This is what I'm
Yeah, yeah, and here's the thing, if you were actually cheating, I don't think that you would be spending your, like, phone call time talking about,
right?
damn Clay Aiken and Ruben and Fantasia and Kelly. Like, no. I mean, unless these are your role-playing names, but more than likely not. I don't know. That
Right?
might be a cool little thing. Like, let's play American Idol. Albie Simon. Oh my
Oh my
god.
god. Well, the more I thought about it, I was
Yeah.
furious because let's just say I had been cheating, which I wasn't, but let's just say I was. What makes her the morality police all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like, unless I was sleeping with her husband, why are we talking about it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just insane. Um, but after that, things got even worse.
Oh.
So even though now she doesn't even know that I know now, but I know. And my husband gets home and I got pregnant pretty quickly after he got back.
Mhm.
Um, so while I'm pregnant and I'm working there, she's still just like I said, giving me like unrealistic deadlines, all that stuff. And now she's asking me, or not asking, but telling me to carry these giant file boxes of like employee files, and they were really heavy.
Oh, absolutely
And
not.
I'm
We're not
pregnant.
doing that.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. So I got this gentleman that worked there to get the boxes for me. And basically, she reprimanded me because she said she told me to do it, not get somebody else to do it.
Oh god. She's a
And,
monster.
right? Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm pregnant, not training for the strongman competition. Like,
Right.
why don't we
What are we
take it down a
doing?
notch?
Yes.
Right, right. So then comes the final straw, okay? I'm like 8 months pregnant at this point, and you know how it is. You're
Mhm.
miserable.
Mhm.
My ankles are swollen,
Right.
and it's just bad. And this is now Florida, and it's like summertime in Florida. I
Just
mean, it was,
swampy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. So this particular day, I'm covering the reception desk, and a regular client comes in to pick up his payroll. And I know him, from now working there a couple of years. So when he walks in, we're just chatting while I'm getting his payroll out. And I simply roll my chair over to the filing cabinet, which was like right behind me,
Mhm.
and instead of standing up. Well, Suzanne happens to be up in the area, in the reception area at the time. So after he leaves, she walks by me, smacks my arm, and says, "You stand up when a client walks in."
What what in the Miss Trunchbull, Matilda? This just does not seem real.
I
She
know.
assaults you?
This woman, right, she put her hands on me.
Ugh.
Now, I I was hot on her heels. I followed her directly into her office, and I very clearly said, "That will never happen again."
Right.
And w right then and there, I decided that I would not be returning after my maternity leave,
Mhm.
which honestly, even though she had now become this, like, evil villain, but it made me really sad because before she lost her damn mind, I genuinely loved that
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And, apparently my biggest crime was being friendly to IT, you know?
Right.
Like, and I wonder if, like, somewhere out there, Suzanne today, to this day, probably still thinks that I risked it all for a man named Gary from tech
Oh,
support.
absolutely. And it might have been, her man, who she wanted to be her man. You never know. You never know with
Yeah.
Suzanne. You never know.
Oh, but yeah, that
That's crazy.
isn't that crazy?
That's literally
Yeah, that's
crazy.
my horror story.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real one. And I hate that you had to go through that and just, especially like being pregnant and just, oh,
Right.
awful.
'Cause I would have gone back, like, after, maternity leave. Well, luckily, I will say this, as not healthy as that marriage was, I am eternally grateful for those few years I got to be a stay-at-home mom.
Mhm.
Um, so I treasure those years, but I before I made that decision, I fully planned on coming back.
Mhm.
But yeah, in that moment, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way I'm coming back to work for this woman."
Yeah. That's that's a lot. Um, I'm an empath, so I'm just like, "Oh, this is horrible." I'm like, I can't find any other words other than that's really, really bad. Um,
I know.
just between
Well,
that and then the man in the stairwell where, I just think about some like
yeah.
weird ass guy like in a trench coat in the corner with nothing on underneath. It's like, hey, you want to have some
Right.
fun? And it's like, no, no, I don't.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I was just this, like, very innocent, naive, young 20-something, newlywed, and yeah, and I'm being, not given as much of a pay rate as someone who has a child and, all these different things that I really just felt like weren't fair,
Mm,
um,
right, because not only
towards
are you
me.
being underpaid and you're getting trying to be lured into sexcapade and then
Mhm.
getting assaulted at work. Of course, all of this is happening in Florida. As if that's not enough. You're already in Florida, then throwing this on top of it. I mean, this just when you thought it couldn't
Yeah.
get any worse. Fate said, "Hold
Yes.
my beer." Okay.
Right.
Oh God. Oof.
But, this I think is the perfect time for this because you brought up a really great idea about having a word of the month,
Yeah.
which I love. So, given both of our workplace horror stories, what do you think the word of the month for this episode should be?
I mean, both of the stories are so different, but then they're also under the same like theme of like
Craziness.
yes. And I really can't, I can't put it under one word. It's either going to be like get out or leave now.
Right?
You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
caution ahead. Um
I think what about I mean, and maybe this is a little bit more applicable to me than you, but I was thinking
you,
boundaries
you
was a good
know,
word.
and I thought about
Um,
that and I was like
yeah.
I think that's the perfect word, JoJo.
Yeah, because we were both learning how to, advocate for ourselves and, both in our early 20s at the time. So, yeah, I agree. I think that's a good word.
Yeah, because there is no situation where you should be, getting lured in and getting hit on and getting hit on. And me sitting there watching somebody abuse drugs.
Right.
Never, never.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
boundaries. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Perfect, perfect.
that's going to have to be the word.
All right. Yes, I completely agree. All right. If you made it this far,
You probably have your own horror story.
yes, and we want to hear it. Seriously. There will also be a link in the show description that will take you directly to the form on my website that you can send us your own horror stories or situations that you'd like some advice on or anything that you just want to get off your chest. We want to hear it.
Definitely. And remember, you can choose to submit anonymously if that makes you feel more comfortable. So, no excuses, y'all. Send us your stories.
Yes. And don't forget to subscribe to the show on YouTube so that you never miss an episode.
And if you really want to get into it, come hang out with us in our private Facebook group, No Hard Feelings, kind of, the after party, where we keep the craziness going.
Yes, this is where you can literally say all the things that you've been bottling up all week or your whole life, whichever. There's no judgment here.
Never.
All right, be honest, Shuri. Would you do it again?
Absolutely not. I like to watch Tyrone Biggums on TV, not in real life. No, never. Now, JoJo, I think I already know the answer, but what about you? Would you do it again?
I would. I absolutely would, because I think now, this time, the only thing that I would do different is I would ask if talking to tech support counts as infidelity before accepting the position.
You know what? And I think I actually like the idea of you going and doing it again because after Weird Man in the alley, meaning in the stairwell, you be owning that company at this point, You Me Too the
Right?
shit out of him. So yeah, good. Go back.
If
Go back and
if
redo
I
it.
knew then yeah, exactly. If I knew then what I know now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this was again so much fun. I love doing this with
I love
you.
doing this with
And
you.
all right, well, we will see you guys next month on This, That, and the Trouble. See you guys next time.
Bye.
So here's to the breakups that built our voice, the jobs we left, the almost choice, the days that felt like wasted time that turned into the perfect line. We don't rush the lesson anymore. We let the silence speak some more. Every scar a secret door. Opening this, that, and the trouble. All the parts we tried to hide. Every wrong turn, every rumble. Put a little truth in our stride. No perfect script, just crooked light. Shining on the darkest nights. 'Cause there's always more to the story. And we're setting the record right.